Certainly can. And I've just got note that we're actually going straight into our first match here, Hexy. So it is Invincible Kittens versus Pulse coming right up. The map of choice is Father Campbell's Chapel. And it looks like Invincible Kittens have won the coin toss, selected to play Killer first, and have chosen to play Nurse onto the Father Campbell's Chapel. Volga played Nurse in the previous round. We played Nurse in the previous round. In fact, Volga's Nurse match versus the Team Prisma was on Dead Dog Saloon. It was our longest match of last week. A full 14 minutes, 50 seconds. I think for Volga, he'll be hoping that he can close this one out a little bit quicker.
Do you think that kind of came down to where a lot of people like to play stealthy versus Nurse, just trying to, oh my god, he's already engaged with the Corrupt Intervention up. A lot of teams usually like to stealth this out, so it's really good for him to get the pressure right off the rip.
Wow, that is quick. Yeah, you're not wrong. A Corrupt Intervention, typically the teams try to stealth it for the full 2 minutes, and that was an instant find and an instant chase one there for Volga already. A point on the board.
But yeah, it does look like we got the Nurse bug with the darkness around the borders there. Once we get back into Nurse, if we can, yeah, there we go. Perfect, we got it picked. He's making up for it. Volga ain't messing around this time. He said, you know what, I had the longest match last time. This time, not going to be the longest match. I'm going to prove a point. Already got a hook. That's going to rack in 1 point. If you guys are curious on how to track the points that we're going along with, which we actually didn't get time to go over, every single hook that the killer does is going to reward 1 point. So if you look down in the bottom left there, you can actually see the hook icons, and they'll be animated in red when they do score a hook. So you'll be able to track along how many times a person has been hooked and if they're going to be death hook. There comes the D strike out. So that's a kind of a 50-50 coin toss. They're only allowed to pick 2 perks a type for their entire team. So that's going to be one of their D strikes coming out, which means they possibly could have another D strike on the squad.
This is a really bad start for Pulse already. That's Aeon, 2 hooks. The decisive strike utilized, so won't have that to protect him on the next unhook, and only 1 generator has been completed here for Pulse. Yeah, this is an excellent start for the Invincible Kittens, and they're the team that's come through from Russia here, Hexy. The Russia region has been kind of labeled the best competitive region in Dead by Daylight by a lot of our teams, and I suspect that the Invincible Kittens will want to rep their country strong.
Oh yeah, and they're coming in with an excellent performance. Already on a possible death hook, no D strike on him, on the Nia there, which is incredibly bad. He's probably going to patrol this out and just try to force the kill right off the rip. That'll reward him the 3 points plus the extra 1 point for the kill if he can get this. And only being down 1 generator with very minimal gens being pushed. It looks like 1's going for the save while 2 are on the gens there. So he might lose 2 gens possibly for the 1K, but super worth. I mean, literally maximum points, and now it's a 3v1. It looks like they're actually giving him up, so they're going to sacrifice the point.
This is the exact same strategy that Volga implemented versus Prisma on Dead Dog Saloon last week. The first survivor that he found, Blind Ribbon, the captain for Prisma, he tunneled out of the game immediately so that he could contest them. And we haven't really talked about perks, but Hex Ruin with Pop Goes Weasel for the ultimate gen regression. And then if somehow the survivors are able to complete generators after that, the Hex No One Escapes Steph to complement the end game. And he's just been able to push the Jake off. It's White Goat coming through, team captain for Pulse off the generator. So that's now going to start regressing.
Yeah, I find that's probably what we're going to see most of as far as perk variations today. This isn't your normal pug matches, so you're not going to be seeing like a lot of perks like barbecue and chili. Most killers will opt towards anything that can slow down the game because games can go incredibly fast. Unfortunately for Pulse, this game is not going that direction. Already another hook going on White Goat there. And we can obviously get into all the perks and stuff in between the matches here so you guys can get a better understanding as far as what our rules are and everything. So there's going to be the 3rd generator, another 2 points going to Pulse.
It's a strategy that a lot of the teams, I think, are going to be implementing during this tournament, and it is just about getting generators done as quickly as possible. Completing all 5 generators for the survivors rewards 10 points, and then each escape will reward a bonus 2 points for each survivor that you do manage to get out of those exit gates or via the hatch. A lot of teams are just going to attempt to have the killer on the wrong side of the map. Even if the chase lasts 20 seconds, Hexy, if you can keep the killer on the wrong side of the map so that all 3 of your teammates are able to pump out an 80-second generator each, then that's a whole 6 points per chase, and you know, that's the thing that's really going to set these teams apart. We see Shockwave coming in, but oh, he's too late. Second stage.
Yeah, I mean, this is really unfortunate to watch. Like I said, because he had such early pressure on Anon, he was basically able to just kind of snowball this match. It's going to be really difficult because now they need to send people in order to get the hooks. And when you're down a player, it becomes increasingly hard. And then you still have Ruin in play. So if they get off of the generators, now that is regressing at 200% speed. So he's opting to go ahead and down Inspire there.
And Anon doesn't have Unbreakable. White Goat doesn't have Decisive Strike. So this is the worst possible scenario for Pulse here. The person slugged currently doesn't have a perk to be able to get them up, and the guy coming off the hook who's dead on hook doesn't have Decisive Strike to get him out of this situation either.
This is just incredibly bad. They need to really swing this around, but I don't really see what they can do because slugging is so strong from a killer's perspective, especially when you still have your totem nearby. You have multiple gens nearby where all these players are. Now, something to keep in mind is we are not rewarding the... Go ahead.
He runs back towards him on the second story so that he can't blink short, because if you blink short, you go down.
Oh, yeah.
White Goat. Oh, no.
Nice dead hard.
I was just complimenting.
You know that's commentator's curse. Anytime you compliment, it always goes south real fast, and I think we're about to see that right here. There it is. Now, something to keep in mind as I was...
None of them have Unbreakable?
Yeah, I don't think any of them have Unbreakable. And something to keep in mind is because they're all slugged on the ground, the Volga needs to find them and pick them up, because if they bleed out on the ground, he will be rewarded 0 points. So if they can crawl around and just avoid the killer altogether, they can deny him 4 points right here. That's 1 point for the hook, 1 point for the death, unless they get a lucky 4% wiggle.
Yeah, we saw that happen in the matchup of last week, Shadow Dreams versus the Sweater Force, and one of the players bled out for the 4 full minutes, denied all of the points that would have rewarded the killer for killing them, and then there was a hatch escape on top of that, just to rub salt in the wound. So for Inspire 95 and Shockwave, they need to try and locate the hatch and hope that the other doesn't get found, but it looks like Volga has found one of them here, Inspire.
Yeah, Inspire's going to go on the hook. He's going to have no way to track Shockwave, though. So, I mean, there's still the possibility of denying another 2 points there, unless Inspire can get a wiggle off the hook.
Yes.
I almost
what would you be doing
here?
here?
Worth it. I would just stay on the hook, try to deny points, hide in a corner.
Try and find... I think he's just heard Claudette. He has, yeah. So in this scenario, I think you have to attempt, and he has attempted. So now what we're going to see most likely from Volga is... Oh, I'm surprised. I was expecting Volga to not hook here until Inspire had, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Not going to hook until Inspire has died on the hook, so that when Shockwave does get hooked, there's no attempts on the hook, and that'll close our game out.
Volga ain't messing around today. He said, "You know what? I had the longest match. I came to show. That was just to make them feel comfortable. I got to show what Russians can do." So a nice,
very
cool 10 points there, right off the rip. Only 3 gens for Pulse.
That is an incredible opening to the proceedings of this tournament here, especially considering that last week on the Dead Dog Saloon, Volga almost made it 15 minutes. This time, he made it look as clean as candy. We're going to see exactly what the points are and how they got broke down here. I do believe that there may have been an extra point coming through for the kill, but I could be wrong. It looks like Invincible Kittens did round out with 10 points in the end, with Pulse finishing on 6 points just for the generators that they did complete. That is a really tough scoreline heading into your second match here for Pulse. It's definitely viable. You know, I'm not saying that they can't bring this one back, Hexy, but the fact of the matter is that they only got 6 points on survivors when there are a full 18 points available.
Yeah, and that's one thing a lot of people keep saying, oh, Survivor's so easy, killers struggle, the killers can't keep up with survivors. But as you see, Volga came to throw down and show that killers are capable of holding it down and denying the survivors maximum points. I mean, essentially, as long as they can get a few generators here and not go on the hook too much, they pretty much are going to just clean sweep this.
So for some, Invincible Kittens are the favorites heading into this tournament, just purely due to the fact that they come from what is one of the most legendary competitive teams in Dead by Daylight, No Mercy, featuring Volga and Bianca, who were part of that team, almost undefeatable in their heyday. Definitely one of the strongest teams that we've ever seen, and now with the talent of Swatter and VKD that we'll see in the Survivor team for Invincible Kittens, these guys believe that they are the best team in the world. Essentially, the best current players in Dead by Daylight, with two of the legendary members of No Mercy. And I'm really excited to see how far they can push this, because after such a clean performance against Pulse, who already upset one of our tournament favorites last week. Their Survivor team, they looked coordinated, they looked together, they got the generators done versus the Spirit, which is not so easy. And then they had the coordination to be able to rescue someone from beyond the grave, essentially, in a scenario that you just should not be able to, which essentially swung them a 4-point lead. Just one body block equals 4 to 8 points is how that worked out with our scoring system. So pretty nuts for Pulse, and I'm really excited to see how Inspire plays this. We saw him play Hag on the Pale Rose last. What would your thoughts, knowing it's Father Campbell's Chapel, what would you be wanting to select here?
Clown. No one's gonna pick Clown. I just really want to see Clown, I'm gonna be honest. But obviously, being as we saw such a clean Hag from last week, that's what I would want to go in. I was actually gonna comment on this with Volga picking Nurse right off the rip. He will be denied playing Nurse for the remainder of the top 8. So I was curious if he wanted to just go in and prove a point and then worry about possibly getting sent to losers later, and just come in really, really dominant, because it obviously feels good to come in and just win a match, know your team is good. Well, they obviously haven't won yet, but have a very strong performance, and it probably is not feeling too good only getting 3 generators done. Hopefully they can rise to the occasion and really not, Pulse cannot let this mess with their mental too much. And they can come in. But yeah, I would probably be going with the Hag just based on how clean it was last time. And I feel like if he can get a nice setup and get a nice 3-gen stack, get a hook over by his 3-gen stack, Hag is just incredibly devastating to deal with in that situation. The problem is getting that set up, and that's what I'm a little bit nervous about.
I've just actually got note that he has selected Spirit for this matchup, so he is going to be going in with the Spirit onto Father Campbell's Chapel. It looks like both these teams are bringing some of their strongest picks in round 1, and like you mentioned, that means that if the when they do progress throughout the bracket, if Invincible Kittens was to win, then they would be playing the winners of Agony versus Team Canapec. For Pulse, they would be in a losers bracket with 3 matches ahead of them that they then have to then eat into that killer pool that they have got set up here. So it is surprising that it's almost a respect shown, I would say, to Pulse after their upset from onto Instant Dodge, because No Mercy and Invincible Kittens in so many tournaments have clashed with Instant Dodge in the past, and they know how strong Instant Dodge are. So for a team to come in and wipe the floor with Instant Dodge, they're like, well, crap, we need to make sure that we're showing our utmost respect to this team, wipe them out with our best killer, our Nurse, and then we can just go into the next match and hope that we've got what it takes to find the W.
Yeah, and the thing is, the map is obviously known to both these teams beforehand, and both teams have to lock in killers before the match goes. So neither of them knows exactly how the match is going to play out. So they're both picking incredibly strong killers right off the rip. They really want to come in and prove a point. I'm a little bit nervous for Pulse going into this. I need to get that negative thoughts out of my head. I hope they can do it because they played incredible last week. Just knocking out Instant Dodge was just absolutely insane, kind of as you said. So I'm really rooting for them, and I hope they can get this back under control.
Yeah, for Pulse, they're a team that have been around for a little while, but they revived it specifically for this tournament here, coming in August with a revived team, and just looking to show that their player pool, the team together is just one of those teams that can really just pull off mind games when they need to, gen rush when it's appropriate, etc., so that they can get those games out. And so they were capable of doing it last week. Here, they haven't quite got that gen rush down versus the Nurse. We'll have to see how Inspire is able to handle the match coming through from Invincible Kittens, because I do believe that the match between Invincible Kittens and it was Prisma last week on Dead Dog Saloon was one of our faster matches. I think around 6 minutes 50 seconds on the Dead Dog Saloon, which is not an easy map, in my opinion, to actually complete gens quickly on because of how easy it is to lock down a 3-gen.
Yeah. I kind of wanted to take a second and possibly go over the scoring and what we're going to kind of be doing with that so people can maybe get a little bit more on board with what we're doing. We kind of just jumped straight into the first match, obviously going with the flow of things a little bit here. But just so everyone is familiar with how scoring is going to go down, there will be 2 points rewarded for each generator completed and 2 points rewarded for every escape. So whether it's a hatch or getting out through the door, a total of 18 points available. Oh, and it looks like we're just jumping right into the first match.
We are jumping straight on in. And continuing on that, each singular hook is worth a point, and then a kill is worth a point. So the killer has 4 points per survivor available to them. But we did make the distinction, Hexy, to not reward the killer for camping or proxy camping. So if a survivor does go into struggle stage, the point isn't rewarded. It's only for actually hooking the survivor you get the point.
Oh, okay, so there was a slight rework.
Nope, that's exactly how you designed it.
Oh, sorry. I was turning off my light. I might have misheard that because my lighting was really, really bad. So I actually didn't fully hear exactly what you said. That is my bad. Anyways, let's jump into the match. We could go over that in between here. Inspire coming out swinging. Going to go ahead and get a smack onto VKD right off the rip here. So he's coming in very aggressive as well.
He wants to try and find the down here. Is the pallet being dropped, but he's gone into the shack to try and catch someone off by guard, and he has found Biaka here, who's going to be running away. That wobbly camera on the Spirit is unfortunately completely out of our control. That's just a spectator bug that has been in Dead by Daylight since the Spirit has released, and unfortunately hasn't been repaired yet. We are going to try and keep our camera off of her when she's moving and only show you the phase walks and the exciting stuff, just because we understand it's not the nicest thing to look at.
Yeah, you get some nice view on her eyeballs there, so you can see exactly what she's seeing. It's pretty
exactly what she's looking at.
But you can see already Invincible Kittens much more aggressive on the gens, not even messing around. They know they just have to rush the gens out as fast as humanly possible, get that pressure, and it is almost an uphill battle for Pulse here. But Inspire coming in pretty aggressive, getting some nice hits, but it does look like they're healing it off. So that is one thing that is a struggle for Spirit. She's always going to have to kind of hit you twice unless she's running some perks to deal with that. Already 2 generators down there. This is not looking very pretty for Pulse.
Yeah, it seems like Inspire's almost panicking, bouncing, pinballing around. This ain't the Blight. But at this point, Invincible Kittens is just very happy to play the gen game. And realistically, all they need to do is complete 4 generators and they would have secured enough points that it shouldn't matter. Unless somehow Inspire is able to get many hook states. It's looking really good for the Invincible Kittens right now.
Yeah, I don't really know. Like, what do you think exactly you do here? I think the early plan when he started out and he was getting the pressure, got the injury there, and he's kind of spread pressuring. I think that was kind of the move, but now he's just on the back foot because he didn't really get anything off of it. So already 2 generators down, no one on the hook.
He's essentially playing a hit and run play style, but these teams are very coordinated with how they can deal with it. And all the survivors can bring in a unique item at yellow rarity. So there is a survivor that does have a med kit who can go off and heal themselves, and the rest of them, they're on Discord. They can coordinate, say, come and heal me. That's the 3rd generator done, and still no down, dodging out the phase walk.
I could not believe that he just escaped by the skin of his teeth there. It looked like he was about to get hit. I thought that was going to be a down for sure. And there goes 4 generators down, no hook still. I feel like if I was Inspire, I would be in full panic mode.
I think the main mistake that's been made is just too much hit and run here. Inspire's really tried to bounce off of opponents, get gen grabs, but these guys are fully understanding that if the Spirit isn't landing on them, then you need to get off that generator. They're coming for someone else, and that is going to be the first down, finally, for Inspire. A point to be rewarded for hooking.
One thing that you can note with Invincible Kittens is they're very much aware that you just heal versus the Spirit. And with him playing that kind of spread pressure role, it's really difficult because every single time he's finding a player, has to hit him twice. And there comes the borrowed timeout for Volga, going to be getting him away there. I don't believe he had the D strike, if I saw that correctly.
No, he did not, no.
Also, Inspire running a very similar build, actually the same exact build, Ruin, Pop. Again, looking to kind of deny the gens and slow down the gens there. No D-strike here, so will he go for the 50-50 coin toss on if he has the D-strike or not? It's looking like he will, and he will be rewarded with that hook.
Yeah, but look at this. That's going to be the generator ready to go. They're actually tapping it because they don't want to complete it just yet because Volga does have adrenaline, and they don't want to risk the spirit dropping the survivor for the adrenaline. It looks like this is going to be a basement hook anyways, coming through. And at this stage, if you're Invincible Kittens, I think you just open the exit gate and get the hell out of Dodge. You've done all the generators. 3-minute escape is going to reward you an extra 6 points on top of that. This should be a clean sweep for Invincible Kittens.
100%. You just leave. You give the kill. Just give him his few points. $15,000 on the line. You know, you don't need to get 4 people out. It's better to play safe, get everyone out, and this is kind of what we thought was going to happen here. I think really where it went wrong is just a bit too much spread pressure in the beginning, and then the fact that Invincible Kittens very aggressive on the generators while doing incredibly well with their cross healing.
That's match 1 over here in the best of the best tournament. Day 2 of the proceedings, the double elimination underway. Invincible Kittens will take out Pulse in their first matchup here. A very convincing lead for the Invincible Kittens. A very strong kill round into a almost flawless survivor round for the Invincible Kittens. Nets them a lead of 26 to 9, I should say, meaning that Invincible Kittens will progress through our winners bracket and Pulse will fall down into the losers bracket. We'll find out exactly who they may be playing in the next matchup here, but man, that was clean, Hexy. That was exactly what we expected from such a strong team.
I mean, I'm just really glad that we were able to get Invincible Kittens into the tournament. It was one of the things where we had to kind of ping test a lot of different players from around the world to make sure their pings were acceptable. And I'm just really glad we were able to get a Russian team in here, and they are proving exactly what Russia is made of, coming in, dominating over Pulse, who had an incredible performance last week. Maybe just a little bit of the nerves kicking in there for Pulse. Hopefully they can go back to the drawing board, come back in, regroup themselves. They're not out yet. We are doing double elimination this week, so they will get knocked down to losers bracket and have another chance to crawl their way back up into the finals.